to the No Invite Podcast. Yeah.
Season 4, The Process.
Bang, we are back. It's the No Invite Podcast, episode 120. This is season 4. This is The Process. And we have our friend and reoccurring guest on the show. Please let everybody know who you are, because I know, but let everybody else know who you are.
Bundy from Dope Flavors. What's happening?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dope Flavors is in the building right now. We are the No Invite Podcast, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into a whole different thing, a whole different vibe. I want y'all to know that we over here at the No Invite Podcast are always open-minded, and we're very observant. First, before we get off into our main thing, we're going to go ahead and hit you with the weekly recap. How was your week, bro? I know you are a busy man, and you're always working around and handling your business and stuff. So how was your week so far, man?
Week was dope, bro. You know what? I planned a LA trip, but shit, LA got some snow. They closed the Grapevine. There was like 5 to 6 feet of snow. They closed the Grapevine. They closed, I think it's Bear Mountain, where there's another pass to where you could get into LA through Bakersfield. That was shut down. The only way to LA was through the 101. And that was like an 8-hour drive. So I canceled my LA trip, but I definitely was productive in the Bay Area the whole time.
That's dope.
So now I'm, yeah, bro. So I was just big chilling, you know, being productive, getting these meetings in, smoking a lot of weed.
Kicking a lot of weed, kicking it with the fam. And yeah, bro, how was your week? Partaking. Mine was good, man. Mine was good. You know, I just recently found out I'm gonna have to, well, I ain't gonna say I just recently found out. I kind of knew, but you know how you can't really just say these things into your for sure, because, you know, anything could happen as far as when it comes to the wonderful, miracle of child's birth and stuff like that. So, you know, your boy's very much blessed. I had a blessed weekend. I just been staying busy. I've been in my acting and writing bag a lot. So I've been trying to, you know, dip and dive in that, because pretty soon I'm going to be having a couple of little short films coming out, you know, which your boy is probably acting and directing tag on there, and writing too, depending on what it is. But, you know, I've been working, man. So the week has been blessed. Really no complaints, man. I smoke a lot of weed too. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I got that little challenge, you know what I mean? Trying to stay medicated without, you know, without being medically induced. You feel me? But now we're here, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep it like all the way 100 with y'all. Now, before we get started on any of this, I want everybody to know one thing, okay? Here at this motherfucking podcast, we are always open to hearing people out, new ideas, new concepts. I know a lot of you guys are going to label us conspiracy theorists or nut jobs or whatever, but we want you to always remember something, that it's not about just running with everything that you read and believing in. It's about, 1, being observant, 2, doing your homework for yourself, and 3, once again, being observant of the shit around you. Shit don't make sense for a reason sometimes, and it's because the obvious answer that sometimes we look for ain't the answer that it really is. So when we try to make sense of stuff, we don't have an open mind. It's, you know, it's kind of difficult for you to actually get the kind of peace or closure that you want. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and dip off into a couple of topics that have been going around lately that I feel like, honestly, bro, you could say it, I could say it, that are not being taken as serious as you would think. First, let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. I know it's people are gonna be like, oh, we've been talked about, or people have been talking about, but the Chinese spy balloon thing that's going on, the unidentified flying objects that's been happening. How do you feel about that when you see that now? Do you feel like surprised, or are you just more like, you know, this? And nowadays, don't shit surprise me, you know? But what's your take on the whole spy balloon and everything that they're trying to tell us that what it is?
I mean, nowadays, I'm not really surprised at all. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? They only, you know, especially on the mainstream media, they only want you to see certain whatever narrative they want you to see. Just, you know, going forward, like, I'm the type of person who is open-minded and tries to step back and enlarge my scope on certain things, certain concepts, and certain incidences that happen in the world today. I'm the type of person to be like, oh, this happened to whoop-de-whoop. well, I'm going to be like, well, what did whoop-de-whoop do? Or what happened to whoop-de-whoop? What led to this, to whoop-de-whoop? And, just get playing. I always play devil's advocate. You got to. You can't just, there's side A, B, there's probably side C, and then there's the truth that we may never know. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to Chinese spy balloons, I think there's spy balloons all the time. I think people got satellites. Everybody got hella shit in the air, bro. Like, that's without a doubt, whether it's Russia, China, Mexico, America.
Our own selves to each other.
Yeah, AT&T, T-Mobile, you know what I'm saying? Like, corporations. There's probably a lot of corporations that got satellites up there that we don't even know, just because they probably work with certain governments, and then we don't even know. We're just the public. Why do we need to know about corporations aren't public, they're private. We would possibly know about government satellites, but that's when they want to tell us.
Exactly. So, when they want to make a fuss about it.
Yeah. So when it comes to like the Chinese satellites, I can't see how they would get blown off course all the way across the Pacific, when them flying over like Hawaii. I think they were making a big deal of it flying over Montana. And these are places where there's military bases or there's nuclear silos. And I think they got it flying over North Carolina. North Carolina's a big deal, but they shot it over the Atlantic Ocean. I think China's testing our temperature, bro. I don't think it's a mistake at all. I mean, shit like that. I wouldn't believe the government on what they're telling the mainstream media, to say to us in the first place.
I feel the same way. I don't really like the explanation. First of all, when had they ever shot anything down and not bother to go pick up the pieces? They said they weren't going to go search for it. It's like, to me, it's all, I feel like it's really just theater, like theater of the fucking, what do you call that? The just putting everything on a certain stage for people to see. It's like a controlled, release, so I look at it as like this. I'm sure that they have more than one occasion when they have so-called spy satellites and things have happened. Why are they emphasizing it now, and why are they emphasizing it yet they are not making, I feel like, a big enough deal about it? Are they trying to not tell us something, or do we really want to believe that they're that fucking stupid, to begin with, to be like, oh, well, we're not going to do this, or do they think we're that fucking stupid? And I really think that. Have you seen that movie it's with Leonardo DiCaprio? I forgot what it's called. It's from Leonardo DiCaprio and a bunch of actors, and basically it's like a near distant future where people are so wrapped up in trivial shit, social media, image, and all the like really shallow stuff, that when they hear that there's a meteor coming straight to Earth, they kind of just blow it off like it's nothing, and they act like it's not a big deal, and we're gonna be okay, we'll be fine, and this, that, and the other, until the end it really blows the fucking world up. I forgot the name.
Wasn't that based on true events? I want to say that was.
I think so.
That was based on true events. I don't know. They kind of, Hollywood takes this little twist on things, but that's what I want. I want to say it was based on true events, because I know what movie you're talking about.
Don't look up. It's called.
I don't.
Jonah Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's how they do it too. Like sometimes, especially our government, when you got puppets in the government and they just don't want to deal with it. They just have totally different agencies and different departments that are dealing with shit like that. People are just the face for the cameras and the TVs and the speeches and signing this and that. But yeah, bro. I
feel like we're getting to that point, though.
Yeah.
Like, it was ironic because it even made people to look around and be like, damn, like, I can't believe that this movie is so genius, but it's so genius because it's so fucking true. Like, people are so wrapped up in small shit, they don't bother to question big shit, or they don't see what's right in front of them sometimes.
I think we've been bombarded with so much stuff, and, through social media, television, just so many things happening, especially since the pandemic, as a population, as a society, we've been desensitized. Mm-hmm. And I think we've been fashioned for that on purpose when things like that happen, to where, it's blow over, this thing's going to blow over, especially when, speaking about the Chinese spy balloons, that could have been a distraction. You know, I know there's other incidences that happen around the same time that didn't get a lot of press that did, just like the derailments in Ohio, in East Palestine. I know they're supposed to be making a lot more documents public from the Jeffrey Epstein's case, dropping his affiliates, as well as more participants and people that actually went to his island. The FBI or the government is supposed to be releasing those documents. So, you know, those could, you know, distraction, diversion, you know, that is the key tactic that the multimedia likes to pull on the public all the time, especially for false flag operations or what have you.
Yeah. And let's keep it funky. Like when it comes to this type of stuff, it's like, you know, we're not saying this stuff because we're anti-American or anti-government. We're anti the bullshit is what it is. You know, we're calling bullshit out when we see it. When you see these type of things and we know they just don't make sense, it just boggles my mind how many people just brush it off like it's nothing. Oh, you know what I'm saying? It's this. Even small stuff. Like they just had a study that came out that said that it's without a doubt the diet that we eat in America that's giving us all these diseases and cancer. You know, so think of it like this: the biggest, what's it called? Big pharma corporations are from out here, and we're their biggest market. Do you think that they're really gonna give us something that's gonna cure us?
No, hell no.
It's business. If it was like a nonprofit or something where they just really can never really get that rich or powerful off of it, it wouldn't be nothing. Of course they would. They'd be like, yeah, let's save lives, but they're not doing that. And I really feel like the way that they treat the people, like, and they do things like that is why there's so much damn ignorance. Because either people don't stop giving a fuck. They see it. They see shit's phony. They see it's fake, but then they just feel helpless. They don't know what the fuck to do.
If Big Pharma is curing people, they're cutting into their profit margins.
Yeah.
So you see
them on their own toes.
Yeah, exactly. You see them with the vaccines. You know, I believe it was Pfizer took all that money and profits that they made off the vaccines and they started acquiring big time cannabis corporations in China, not China, in Canada. Mm-hmm. So you take vaccine profits and you start acquiring big corporations in cannabis in Canada, then it kind of tells you, you know, not the writing on the wall, but you can see, you know, what their next moves and
what their motives are. Yeah.
What their motives are, especially in the American market. And America and Big Pharma own the patents for cannabis. I don't know if people know that, but they own that patent. And, you know, there's got to be a reason why they won't deschedule, because obviously they're still profiting off that. Mm-hmm. So they have it. They have the patent. They got it tucked, but they're keeping it illegal. So you got to kind of ask the question why. And
they're just milking it, bro. Yeah, you know, I think they're milking the way things are set up, because the way things are set up are good. And think about it like this. They have been on Big Pharma's line, supposedly. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff where they've been suing and they've been investigating Big Pharma and people have been going down and whatnot. So maybe this is their exit plan and they know, like, yo, we can't keep doing this shit. So, you know, something eventually is going to give it. People, I mean, I don't know what else it's going to take, but I'm just saying, like, maybe they're thinking that, or maybe they're like, yo, what's a way to get people more willing to consume our products? Oh, you know what? Let's add them as additives and all this bullshit. Like they said, all the stuff that's extra in our food, we don't need that shit. A lot of countries have banned it. Europe has banned a lot of chemicals that we use on a daily. In our food, chemicals in our food. It's not like it's you know, chemicals of whatever, like you know, chemicals like sprays or stuff that we make for cleaning products. No, this is in our food, the shit that we eat. And it's just sad, yo. I was talking about it with my friend today. We're in the car just tripping off that alone. It's like, dude, they give you this shit. They either one way or another, you're gonna be for lack of a better word, a battery, like the Matrix. You feel me? You're not giving energy. You're consuming. Yeah. Giving your dollar. You know, that's why it's another reason why I always stress about importance about where you put your money at. Now, I'm not saying that we are all perfect, because look at me with my computer and my phone. You know, I'm never going to be holier than now, but we definitely as consumers have a lot of power, you know, and I think the pandemic showed that as well.
And that's how, you know, America grooms their society to be the perfect consumer. And that's why you see, you know, these health issues and problems only in America. Because like you said, Europe, they ban a lot of these chemicals, a lot of these hormones going into the food in production, but also going into the livestock, going into the agriculture, right there from the seed to the plant as well. So you don't have these problems or a lot of these problems in Europe, and that's why. Yeah. But when it comes to America, since we have such a diverse population, we have one of the biggest populations in the world, the government or the powers that be, the corporations that, control the government are be like, how can we make your citizens, your taxpayers, the perfect consumer to keep consuming, to keep buying, to circulate those dollars, because those are legitimate wages to where it goes back into their pockets. To us, it's cash to where, either we know what to do with it or we don't know what to do with it. But at the end of the day, with the media, with everything that they're trying to shove down our throats, we have to consume in order to survive.
Well, there's not many options. Think about all this, there ain't too many options when, and if there is options, they're much more expensive, and to have these options. So it's very much, you know how it is, bro. At the end of the day, we have to find our way. We are what it is. We're a democratic, or whatever, a republic or whatever you want to call it, but we're a democratic society, and but more than that, we're really, I think that's taken a second place. Democracy is taking a second place to consumerism. So, and what do you call that? We're capitalists. At the end of the day, this country was founded on making money. So these corporations just get entirely too big and try to stretch a dollar and justify a lot of the stuff that they probably don't fucking need, and by cutting corners, who's going to see the effects of that? It's going to be the consumer. It ain't going to be, you see these corporations, something happens, they go down, they lose a motherfucker's pension or some Enron shit happens. Maybe one or two guys go, but everybody else is good. And everybody else has something to do with it on one scale or another, especially with the way they were paying themselves. So it's just, we see it for what it is. This is the conspiracy hour. You guys, I know a lot of people that like to label that. I don't mind the label, but I don't look at it like people try to use it because, they'll try to, because you're open to ideas. You're not saying that this is facts. We're not like, this is, we're aware of things. And, people like to use that to slander or to try to make somebody look crazy. It's like, I don't think there's countless examples throughout history of conspiracy theories that actually were true. And
you know what? I like using the term truth seeker because, conspiracy theorists, that was a label and a term to classify or categorize people that wanted to seek the truth, that didn't want to believe just what the media was giving them or exposing to them.
It was a way to discredit them.
The other side. A way to discredit them.
Yeah, to make them look like, oh, these guys are crazy, or they're what do you call that? Fanatics or shit like that. It's like zealots or whatever the fuck. That's kind of why they developed that term. That's why I don't mind it, because I don't take it that way. But people also got to be understanding of that too. That the way you use things, the way you say things, only perpetuates certain shit. And you're right. It's just speaking the truth, man. At the end of the day, people want what everybody else wants. They want peace. They want health. They want to be successful in the stuff that they do. They want to have the opportunities to go and pursue that happiness and everything else, like it says in the Constitution and whatnot. So, with that being said, what else do you feel like about, what else were we talking about, bro? I forgot. We were saying some other shit too. It wasn't just this. It was, we did this. We talked. Oh, we didn't really talk too much about East Palestine, and I know that a lot of people have a lot of different theories, and I know there was a lot. It was how many total besides Palestine that had derailments? I think it was like 4 or 5, right?
There was like 4 or 5 derailments. There was like semi trucks with toxic waste being hit or exploded in the middle of the highways at that time. There's been explosions at like refineries across the Appalachian and around the Midwest, a lot of industry states. And, I don't believe in coincidences, especially in this country. So either one, it's, you're trying to, all these incidences are happening. It's obviously polluting the air. It's polluting the land. It's polluting the water. And look at where it's at. Like you have the Ohio River, you got so many different rivers in that area, say in the Midwest going into the East Coast. There's a lot of farmland there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about kind of like how I said, I like to step back, broaden my scope, and look at it.
Because nothing just happens.
Yeah, because I don't believe in coincidences. So either, you know, I got two different theories, like, you know, just got in my mind, you know, especially with these type of incidences back to back. Either, you know, we're being attacked or is purposely happening to eliminate, you know, some type of a person, group, or section of people. And what I kind of narrowed it down to is that, all right, so if you got all these pollutants and all these incidences polluting the air, the water, the land, then you're eliminating small farmers compared to big time industrial farmers. So
ones that could bounce back and take a hit and be like, oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're eliminating that middle class, and that's what the elite or the upper echelon, that's what they want to do to us at all times. They want to eliminate the middle class because we are the threat. You know, when black and brown people, persons of color, you know, people from, you know, impacted by anything, try to get some type of wealth and spread it, you know, throughout generations, we are that threat to the elite. So when it comes to farming, I feel like that's a tactic. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a tactic against our own people from our elites, then it may be a tactic from China. You know, we've been in a Cold War with China since 2012, 2013, whether it's cyber attacks, you know, they're stealing our technology. They're infiltrating our cities, our politics, influencing our tech sector. So what are they doing here? You know, with East Palestine, with polluting our air, our water, especially with our rail system, which, you know, does a lot of transportation. America is utilizing their rail systems just as heavy as they were back in the Civil War, even though the technology and, you know, the way they do it is still kind of like how the Civil War was, unregulated. You know, they want to, you know, they want their profit margins too, but is it safe? Are they, you know, it's not regulated enough to where it would withstand an attack, say, you know, hypothetically from China. So that's my second version, that it could be a Cold War Chinese tactic attack from China, kind of pretty much attacking our infrastructure, attacking our supply chains.
Well, and it does make it does definitely, you do definitely make a point with that. You know, it feels like an attack because it's, like you said, it's all of a sudden either these trend derailments happen is more than we think, and people, they just don't really hype them up or report them, or there's no way that they use that many within you know that time frame, and it was not something that was coordinated, or at least coordinated between whoever the case is. And like the same thing with the tying it to the spy balloon and stuff like that. After for those people,
spy balloon incidences.
So it could the spy balloon be a distraction? Could it be legit? Could it be real? It's like, to me, I don't understand why they didn't shoot it down way before. They wait until it got to the coast to shoot it down. It's like, with all the technology you have, you mean to tell me you couldn't identify what it was and shoot it down way before it flew over all these critical places that you didn't want it to fly over, supposedly? Mm-hmm. So does it feel like it was even legit like that, and it was something to cover up this or that? I mean, it just for all the way this country in America boasts, and we're the most technologically advanced, and we're the most this and we're the most that, they really didn't have a lot of fucking answers for us. And it kind of, if they're really worried about keeping people in line, you would think that they would, no, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to. Cause as people, we're not exactly, seeking truth all the times. I think we're seeking comfort. We're not seeking truth. So comfort and convenience is kind of like the killers right now for me. I tell people all the time, it's like anytime we try to create something for convenience, it really has a harsher negative effect. I'm not going to say every time, but a lot of times when we try to create things to make our life a little bit more convenient, fast food, whatever the case might be. And you know what? Fast food is different in our country, obviously, with the chemicals and everything that they put in the food. So, but like that's just kind of just me being observant, like you said, stepping back and looking at stuff, and it just makes me think, like, we know it happened. Obviously, people had photos, civilians had photos and stuff like that. But do we really know that it was what they say it was? You know, is it something that they're pushing a narrative for whatever? Was it a distraction? I don't know. I couldn't call it on that one.
And these are the questions we should be asking. Like, you know, whether you call us, you know, truth seekers, conspiracy theorists, like, hey, these are good questions. Like, is this possible? You know, what would it take to do this? Is China capable of this? Is our government capable of suppressing this information? Because I know damn well if they straight up said, oh, it's a Chinese attack on our infrastructure, us as a people, as a society, would be on the warpath. We'd be pressuring our politicians to be like all out war, like we need retaliation. And do we really need that right now? And you know, it's especially with the state of our economy. You know what I'm saying? There's the economic war going on in Europe. You know what I'm saying? That's been going on. I don't know if you want to go into that rabbit hole, but you know, we got time. So, I mean, shit, our economy hasn't been really that strong, allegedly, since Trump. You know, as soon as Democrats or Biden went in, you know, we've been giving everybody on the rest of the world either more money or more leeway. So all those deals when Trump was in office, all those deals with Russia, all those deals with China went out the window. Yeah. So, you know, right now, Russia is a major superpower when it comes to energy, when it comes to food. They're controlling. They got everybody by the balls over there, and one of the main reasons why back in, and I was keeping up on this. Main reasons why, like back in, I want to say 2012, 13, and 14, when we were in Syria fighting ISIS, that was all for energy. They were trying to get energy pipelines going because Russia controlled that market, and then the United States was trying to get Ukraine to build alternative pipelines so they would be able to compete against that market. So we all know that Russia wasn't having that. And that's why that's one of the main reasons why we were in Syria fighting ISIS, you know, because of those energy pipelines. And we all know that we were trying to build another pipeline to strengthen our own economic power, through the Trump administration, but then the Biden administration immediately shut that down and blamed it because of, you know, the harmful effects on the atmosphere, or climate, because of the climate or what have you. That to me, that's my explanation in a nutshell. But that's, you know, there's an economic war going on right now in Europe, and I feel like everything's been bubbling up. The conflict in Ukraine right now, it's been bubbling up since then. I think we always got to control of natural resources, pretty much.
Correct, and it all boils down to that, because every country is pushing and shoving. They want their issue. They want to get what they've got coming to them, or what they feel they're entitled to, and it's a power struggle, you know. These superpowers are pretty much trying to be top dog instead of trying to maintain. You feel me? Everyone's pushing for position and whatnot. It's you gotta think of it like this, bro. These motherfuckers are really running shit like it's death row. You feel me? Like it's death row records. You know, when it comes to the government, I'm sure that they got people that they answer to. Obviously, you know, people that pay their bills and whatnot, but at the same time, while they're in office, they're shaking and moving. They're making deals for themselves. They're getting rich. They're doing what, you know, they're doing. They're cutting corners. They're investing in shit that they know privy to ahead of time. They know what the fuck they doing. See, and that it's just, to me, it's very critical that people understand that. And when they say, "Oh, I can't do nothing," really, the only thing that you can do is your what do you call it? Control your.
And you consume, just go with the flow. Because I mean, just like I tell everybody, man, America is the biggest gangsters in the world. Yep. Like, there's a reason why we the biggest gangsters in the world, bro. And it's like, would I rather be on the side of the biggest gangsters in the world, or second and third place at this point, the way the world is going nowadays? And it's like, you got to pick your poison, bro. I mean, you can recognize all the fucked up shit that's going on, but at the same time, are you on the winning side? You know?
I mean, and it's sad.
It's fucked up, but it is what it is.
And that's why I tell people all the time, look, it's really, like I said, it's all boiled down to money. This is how this country was founded. It's democracy, and it's also what's it called? Capital. We're capitalists, right? So the power is in, you know, getting that generational wealth, creating things where you are in control and you are ownership of them, because that's the only way that you could actually maneuver through the garbage. You know, they set it up for like, oh, you got to have money, period, in this world or in this country if you really want to be taken seriously, if you want to reap better benefits for you and your family and all those things. But you know, we're not just talking about a couple dollars. We're talking about money. You know, we're not. That's why you said like you got either you're making a lot of money or you're maintaining. You know, and because they're wiping away the middle class, like you said, they're trying to wipe it all away. So what I tell people is like, look, your consumer dollars matter. You know, so that's the only way you're gonna hurt anybody in here, because the minute that you stop getting the products that they feel, you know, they start throwing out some flops. Now it's like, oh, we gotta change, we gotta do something, we gotta, you know, maybe it ain't gonna be like the you can't defeat the beast, but you know, maybe. You know, when you're more pickier with your dollars and you're more pickier how you live your lifestyle and what you consume and how you react, because we all know that people, the way they go to the internet and they fall out with their family members over shit because of politics or whatnot. It's like, look, man, that's exactly why you ain't gonna get where you want to go. You got to let that shit go. At the end of the day, you have to take care of yours. You have to do the best that you can with the circumstances, and you got to try to be a step ahead. So you got to try to go as hard as you can to raise yourself out of your situations, because at the end of the day, no one down here is making any of these rules. So us as the people, we have to make sure that we continue to maintain our integrity, helping each other out when possible, you know, perpetuating positive things and showing by examples that things are possible, even though it is way harder for us.
I really like how you said, you know, really choose your consumer dollars wisely, because like you said, if you go against the beast, you're going against the corporations, you know, that control most of the consumer products. But if you choose your consumer dollars to buy local, to buy small mom and pop, buy from the middle class, the lower middle class, from each other within the community, that right there would harm and would build us up and our people up, you know, for generational wealth. Because, you know, like I tell other people too, like during the pandemics and the lockdown, they wiped out a bunch of the middle class right there with restaurants, with services that you needed to go to, you know, face to face within the community. Be like, no, you can't operate. No, you can't go there. No, DoorDashers can't work past 6 p.m. because there's curfews. Now, who is that harming the most? It's not corporate. It's not the higher elite, the upper echelon that controls those small businesses or even those medium-sized businesses or facilities. It's us. It's the small mom and pop businesses. So when you control and have better choices of your consumer dollars and you go local and small mom and pop, small business, I mean, that's, you know, that right there is the way to go. And I like the way you said that.
I appreciate it, man, because really it's just from being observant. Like I said, one thing that I did notice is that when the pandemic was on and you couldn't go to certain places or get certain goods and services, a lot of people took it upon themselves to start their business and start handling their shit, right? And what I seen was like that more communal money, where the money was circulating within us and within businesses and brands that really needed that push, that were getting overlooked before because they weren't as big or they weren't as established as these other brands. At the end of the day, I feel like economic empowerment is how and the only way, because you don't have to totally go bad, but you could play the game and actually raise yourself and your people out of certain things. You know, you got to try. You know, I'm not nowhere here saying that it's easy or it's going to be a cakewalk. We know already people that look like me and you have to work harder. We have to work double. We have to deal with more rejection and with more shit falling through. But the difference is our mentality and our mind state. How are we going to respond? Are we going to allow that and just, you know, go with it? Oh, you know what? Get docile and let the people or them or whoever it is, the powers that be, have their way. Nah, you gotta fight your battles on a smaller scale. Of course they're gonna try to hurt people if you try to organize and stuff like that. We've seen countless examples of that, but we do have other ways, you know. And I kind of, you know, it could be, you know, capitalistic, I feel like, and still have some morals. I feel like just like how we're saying, when you get too big, you fear losing that power. You fear losing that dollar, and then you cut corners. And when you do that, you already know when cut corners, and you a salesperson, it's not you, it's the consumer that's gonna feel that. Mm-hmm. You know, you're gonna sell more. You're gonna sell more. It won't be as great, but you're gonna get your dollars somehow, one way or another, because you got the manpower and the money to fund your shit and keep going. See, like us, like how we were saying with the farmers, how many times, you know, how many blows can they take before it's over for them? While big corporation farms and companies, they got the money. They say, oh, we got the insurance. Fuck it, you know, write that shit off. Let's come again. So
they got the long game. They play the trench warfare, even though they could be wrong as fuck. They could be illegal as fuck until they're found out guilty in a court of law or the public exposed. They're going to lie straight to the public's face and still push their product or still push their agenda or whatever it is until they have to apologize, until they have to, by law, stop.
Until more and more people, they lose more cases, like the Johnson & Johnson thing. Like, we grew up, we're using that product. We're using baby powder when I used to put it on our babies, for Christ's sake. Like, and now they're saying it causes this and it causes that, and they had a lawsuit. But does that lawsuit really fix anything? Is that money that they already got for their insurance or their lawyers and stuff like that? It's nothing to them, you know.
The Roundup. Yep.
Roundup. You know, all like the same thing. Like the way it was destroying the environment and fucking.
And then I believe the recent one is the red dye or the red 20 or something like that. Mars, I believe it's Mars. You might want to look it up. But Skittles, Starburst, they use this red dye that was found out to be causing cancer back then, and they were supposed to stop using it in their products. And then I believe last year they just got indicted, or they just got in trouble pretty much because they were still finding it in their products, and that product or that chemical specifically still causes cancer. So they're going through that right now as well. And like I said, like they're going to continue to use these. They're going to continue to do what they do for their profit margins until somebody's telling them legally, or a judge is telling them legally, you got to stop.
And think about it like this, okay?
And it'll blow over. They don't care. It's a huge scandal. Like millions of people, kids eat this stuff, and they're anticipating blowover. You know what I'm saying? Because we have, as a society, we have been desensitized. Yeah,
and also it's like we've been conditioned. So all the other products that we eat and consume, it makes it very difficult for you to be like, yo, this shit gave me cancer. Because it's like you're open to a lot of shit. So they got us kind of by the balls with that too, because at the end of the day, it's just murky enough until, like you said, it's obvious and clear, and a bunch of clinical cases and things like that happen. More people get sick until they absolutely have to. Then they'll apologize. Then they'll pay their little whatever it is, fines and whatnot. And guess what? We're coming out with the new red 26 or something that's free of this chemical, but still looks good, because we have to have shit that looks like, you know, fake fruit or whatever. You know what I mean?
And you won't find out that one's even fucked up until another 20 years.
Yeah,
we got to hear the Supreme Court to tell us again that it's bad.
Yeah,
I'll give you another example of what recently just happened too. Is the Mormon Church was just recently fined by the IRS $5 million because the IRS, which is pennies, the IRS found that the Mormon Church was hiding $32 billion in shell companies. So they fined them $5 million. That's fucking pennies compared to $32 million. 32 billion, my mistake. And you got to remember too, the Mormon Church is one of the biggest organizations that have one of the hugest gold reserves in the world. So, gold.
Yeah. So that means they got power.
They got a lot of power.
And that's another thing people like, you know, people don't understand.
You got to stay up on this.
Yeah.
Like these are, you know, a lot of people don't know this shit.
And that's another thing. Like I said, once again, I you know, I'm not a religious person, but I don't knock people that are religious. But I always tell people, man, if you go to a place that's hella nice and it's hella you know, expensive and it's brand new, and you see the congregation and they don't look right. But first of all, it you know, that's a temple. If we're going by Bible and biblical stuff, that God said that do not make idols. You know, do not indulge in you know, that. So, you know, like already I just, you know, there's been so many scandals when it comes to the church on all kinds of different levels, whether it's Christian and Catholic combined. You know, it's not surprising to me. So if they're too money hungry at your church, they're always asking you for bread, they're always asking for money, and they look like they're living pretty good. The church is brand new and big and all that shit. Maybe you might want to ask yourself what God are you exactly praying to? Because you might be praying to the right God but doing the wrong stuff. And then, you know what I mean? You go into a spam folder. He ain't trying to hear you. Yeah.
A religion is, at the end of the day, a religion is an institution. And an institution's sole purpose is to gain revenue, to generate revenue. So that just goes to show.
That's why you see the pastor, you know what I'm saying, with the crocodile skin loafers and stuff like that, and the big car. You know, I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. I can't really
look at all the real estate they have. The Catholic Church, the Mormon Church, all the churches and temples they have. That's all real estate that they own all throughout the nation. So that there goes your real estate capital right there. You know, that's their portfolio. On top of all the Mormon Church got gold. You know, what does the Catholic Church have as far as assets and whatnot?
Got cases is what the motherfuckers got. They got a bunch
all
of
over the world.
All over the world. It's like their thing. It's like they do a world tour or some shit, you know?
Damn near.
Bundy, bro, I appreciate you for being here. I know you said you got a dash, you got stuff to do, and I can't even be mad at you because I should be doing the same thing. But, you know, we had to stop and check in with you. I'm glad we actually got a chance to talk about something different because I always have you on the podcast and we always talk about what you got going on because you do a lot for the community and you're doing a lot, you know, in the cannabis industry and stuff. But it's always cool to get you here and we just shoot the shit about some stuff that
Right on. I like talking about controversial topics. You know, it's usually the saying goes, it's like you don't talk about politics, religion, and science. And I think we covered all three for the show today.
Yeah. And you know what? For the most part, like I tell people that I try to keep my podcast tries to be a podcast. It's like a healthy distraction from what's going on. You know, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We keep it light. But I've been plenty of times where we have talked about similar topics and issues and things like that because this is not fear mongering. This is for you to be be aware and to just exactly and just to know what's around you and be observant and to see the things and you know, it's all right to have questions. We live in a democracy, like they say. So if we live in a democracy, you're supposed to question things. I would rather be fucking told like you're stupid and be proven wrong than be proven right for a lot of this shit. You know what I mean? But that's just what it is. And, you know, and I'm a realistic person. I don't take this with me and get depressed or nothing because you know what? I'm still fully alive and capable of doing anything that I need to do. And the best thing to do is, like I tell people, is to try to find a way somehow, start a business, create something. We're all creative people, you know, have something that you own that's yours and be able to capitalize off it so that you could get some kind of, you know, some kind of wealth, some kind of ownership of the things that you know, a lot of the people don't do. A lot of people don't own their homes. A lot of people don't own their own vehicles and stuff like that. It's not even about that, but it's about having stuff and owning things that will matter and will help you throughout, you know, your years and whatnot. And you could hopefully land it and give it to your children, you know. With that being said, bro, tell them where they could find you at.
So you can find me at _D_flavors. Dope_flavors dopeflavorsllc.com. If you're in the 925 area, dopeflavorsdelivery.com will come straight to your doorstep within an hour. If you want the merch, if you're liking the merch, dope flavor merch, dopeflavorstore.com. If I could give one strong suggestion when it comes to broadening your scope and just critically analyzing everything, critically analyze your history, because history will tell you a lot, especially because history does repeat itself in one way or another.
Facts.
So critically analyze your history, not just what you learned in the history books. You know, there's a lot more information underneath that, or it's the iceberg. You only see the tip of the iceberg, but there's a whole lot more elements and
it's
movements.
It's a lot deeper than you think, fam.
For sure. So critically analyze your history, whether it's in business, whether it's in government, whether it's in science or religion. You're going to find out a whole lot more.
That's facts, man. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Be observant, study your history, and like I said, just, you know, pay attention. You know, it's all right there for you. You may not always get all the answers because there's so much at play, but at least you'll get, if you're observant, you could see the writing on the wall sometimes, and you could see things, and it'll help you in your everyday life, maybe just to maneuver, make better choices, you know, and do things that you need to do for yourself and for your family. You can find us on Instagram at no_invite_podcast. You could also go to anywhere that they stream podcasts. We're pretty sure we're there. Just type in No Invite Podcast. We should pop up. You see the smoking mic. You know what I'm saying? That's me.
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Me too. I am too, man. And we definitely gonna do some more. I wanted to get some of the ladies on. You know, a lot of them are busy right now doing things. This was kind of a last minute thing. I literally hit you like a couple of hours ago just to see if you was able.
Stay ready.
Yeah, you got to stay ready, bro. With that being said, you could also go to our YouTube page. Go to there, subscribe to our channel at RiBirth Media Films, RiBirth Media Films with a Z. You could holler at us there. Subscribe, slander us. We don't give a damn. But as long as you're watching, we're okay with that shit. So with that being said, we are out. Episode 120, season 4, The Process. We out.